morning, everyone. Welcome to my home. My name is Lisa, and I am Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry. And this is the Knitting by the Sea podcast. Today it's Tuesday, and it's unusual that I'm home today. And the reason that I'm home is because we are having a blizzard today. Thanks to Sarah Pomegranate of the Yarns at Yanu podcast, who keeps wishing for days off for snow. So we are having another one today. We had one a few weeks ago, if you remember. We're having another one today. So you actually might be able to hear some of the wind as I record. I'm not sure if you will or not. Sometimes I can hear some of the wind coming down the fireplace here, so you might pick up some of that today. I'm not sure. But it's just started to snow just a little bit, and the wind is starting to pick up. That's going to be the big problem today, is going to be the wind. I think we're going to have gusts of 50 to 60 miles an hour. It's going to be a little bit crazy. So I sent my husband off to his parents. He actually has a small office there, so that's really where he works during the day but I sent him off there this morning, and I thought I would just get in a little podcast today while I have some time. And then I'll call him later when I'm done, and I'll go over there as well. My mother-in-law has stacked up the fridge full of food, so we'll eat there. Plus, we'll be over there because we will take care of their driveway for them this afternoon as the snow begins to pile up. I'm really not sure how much we're going to get. Originally, they were saying that we potentially could get 18 inches to 2 feet of snow. But that rain-snow line might be kind of shifting up a little bit, but it's still going to be terrible weather. The city of Boston is really pretty much closed down today. But I really hope, Sarah, I hope this is it. I think it will be. This will be the last big gasp of winter, and then we can hopefully move into the spring. So anyway, that's why I'm here during the week. So today we will do a few things. We will talk about a finished object. That's the only finished thing I have. My works in progress. We'll talk about the knit along a little bit, and we'll have some chatter at the end, and we'll talk about a new giveaway that I'm going to do. So let's get started. Finished objects, or object, because I only have one this week to show you. This actually has been done for a couple of times. I think it was done when I recorded the last podcast, but I didn't have it with me. Because I took it over to my mother-in-law's. As I've said, she has the clothesline out in the back, and I saw somewhere on a podcast or a blog or somewhere, maybe on Ravelry, where someone had blocked their shawl on outside in the sun and the wind on a clothesline, and I thought that was a great idea, and it works really, really well. I'm so excited to use that technique. But anyway, this was still over at my in-laws because that's what I was doing with it. And this is called the Yellow Roses pattern. It's by Clothesline Designs, and the pattern was so graciously gifted to me by Melinda of the Yarn Woman podcast. And the yarn I'm using is by Kayleen, who's a local dyer here in Marblehead. She is Little Bean Crochet, and she makes beautiful, gorgeous yarn. And I've been lucky enough to have 2 skeins of hers, and I have been working with both of them. I'm almost done, so I might have to get some more shortly. But this is the right side. So this is basically a little shawl or shawlette, and it has this really lovely lace design right on the front here. Really beautiful. And again, this is Kayleen's lovely yarn. It's just these lovely blues and kind of deep dark purples, and it's a fingering weight yarn, and it really is beautiful. It drapes beautifully, it blocked out beautifully, so I'm really looking forward to wearing this. This will just be a nice light wrap around my neck, during the spring. I think it's really beautiful, so I'm very, very pleased with that. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you, Kayleen, for the beautiful yarn, and I'm really I'm looking forward to and enjoying this. So that's all I have for finished objects. That's pretty sad, isn't it? But I've had a lot I've been working on. Come on, I've been working on a lot of things here. So let's move on to works in progress. All right, works in progress. So the first one that I have, I'm almost done with. Next time, this will be a finished object. It might actually be a finished object today. Maybe I'll work on it this afternoon. The wind is really blowing out there. we're hoping later on this afternoon we are going to try to do a drive around and see if we can get with some good waves coming in, because there's also a extraordinarily high tide. The moon, I don't think it's full today, but it's been close to full, and the tides, and there's supposed to be a storm surge. So we'll see if it's safe out there. We'll go out and get some video of that, but it's just funny to watch the snow blowing by. So anyway, back to works in progress. Once again, thanks, Sarah. This is the stripe study shawl. I think I talked a little bit about this before. This is the this is the fourth time I've made this pattern, and I really enjoy it, which obviously I do. I've made it 4 times, but let me see if the front, oh, it doesn't really, yeah, yes it does. Okay, it's now so big and unwieldy, I have to see which is the front by my progress keeper, and there it is. Okay, so yeah, so this is the front of it. You can see I'm into the end piece here, the border of it, and it's just lovely. So I use 2 different skeins of yarn. It's kind of hard to see, but you can't see so much the striping. It just kind of all melts together here on the camera. But this color here is one of the yarns, and then that pink one is a separate one. So the purplish yarn is again from Kayleen here, Little Bean Crochet here in Marblehead. I love it. It's just beautiful, gorgeous yarn. And the second is a skein by Swatch This Fiber Arts knit girly Deanna. Again, she's just a lovely dyer, and this is the second skein of yarn that I've tried of hers. And I don't know that you're going to see, the light isn't very good, but both of these, you can see them in the pictures on Instagram more, but both of these yarns have stellina in them, so this has a lot of sparkle in it, so it's really cool. I love this pattern. I think I've spoken about this before as well. Many people have knit the Color Affection by Vera Valimaki, and I have knit that as well. And someone, was it Patricia Ann? I think it was. And she had knit a Color Affection shawl recently that came out beautifully, but the problem that she had, it's the same problem that I had, that I think it's on the cast on edge. It's kind of a crescent shaped shawl, and you have to be very careful to be very loose, I think, on that cast on edge, if I recall, because otherwise it's too tight. And it doesn't necessarily look too tight when you do the pattern, but it feels tight when you're wearing it or pick it up, and you just know as a knitter, you're like, oh, I should have been a lot looser on this. So that particular project I didn't enjoy so much, but this one I love. There's no issues on the ends, and it's an asymmetrical shawl that's striped. So if you use, these two, the pink yarn has a lot of purple in it. So if you had 2 very different colors, had a white and an orange, the contrast would be really amazing. I just kind of like the way this looks in here, but you can still see. So it's full of short rows, but they're very easy to do, and it becomes this massive shawl and fingering weight, and it's really easy to knit because it's just knitting back and forth. It's all garter stitch, and once you've done 1 or 2 rows, you know exactly what's going on, and it's very easy to. You don't have to look at the pattern. I don't look at the pattern except to just check and see how long. I think this is supposed to be maybe 4 inches, that kind of thing. But other than that, you have, I think, 11 or 12 stripes in here of each color, and it's just very easy the way the pattern is set up. It's very easy. It's one of my favorites. As you know, I've knit it. This is the 4th one. I probably will knit this again. It's a really easy go-to shawl, and it just comes out in a nice size. It's lovely. You can wrap it around. It's so light and drapey. Really happy with this. So again, Stripe Study Shawl by Vera Valimaki. Very happy with this. And again, I'm sure I'll make another one of these at some point. I also have been working on my Brunsfield vest, which is by Isolde Teague, and this will be my Rhinebeck sweater next October. I was just saying to Sophia recently that I feel like I have to work on this, but I enjoy working on it, but I shouldn't be in as much as a panic as sometimes I seem to be, because I have until next October. I have plenty of time. But it is a Fair Isle vest by Isolde. What I will have to do is steek the armholes and the neck, so that's going to be my challenge on this particular project. But again, I'm looking forward to it. And I finished one whole section of repeat, and I'm now starting on the second section of repeat. I have to do maybe, I think 2.5 of the full repeats, the full pattern before I begin any armhole shaping or neck. So I'm still right in the midst of it, and it's coming out beautifully. I'm using knit picks because I have knit picks, but knit picks again, it's 100% wool. This is palette. It's 100% wool. I think it's Peruvian wool, and it's very sticky, so you don't really have to worry about the insides of it. The color changes. I've just basically done a simple knot on each one, and I will just trim these up. I won't bother to weave them in at all. I'll just cut them down because they tend to felt together, so that's not going to be an issue at all. It's really hard working yarn, so if for some reason you take it out, the stitches stay where they are, and you do sometimes. We all make mistakes, a little bit unfair, but it's really coming out beautifully. I really love the color choices that I've made, and I think it's going to be it's just going to be a beautiful, beautiful piece of my wardrobe. Really looking forward to doing it. It has a 24 stitch repeat, so it is easy for me to count that when I'm doing this. I try to count 24 so I know right where I am in the repeat of the pattern. You certainly could if you were a newer knitter, you could certainly put and I would have done this years ago, put a stitch marker on every 24 so then you actually really know where you are. But if you can just count, and then you can, because it's colored and it's really contrasting color, you can also see how the pattern is, what's happening with the pattern, and so you can see if you've made a mistake. Hopefully you haven't seen any mistakes that I've shown you, but no, I'm very, very pleased with this. I'm very happy and really looking forward to working on it. I usually work on this on the weekends. Like I said, we usually will go over to my in-laws, so my husband will do some work on the weekend, and so I'll just sit down and maybe watch a podcast or two or something on Netflix and get several rows done of it. And that actually works for me. What I tend to find when I'm doing something like this, because it's Fair Isle all the way up, so there are a couple of plain rows in there, but mostly it's color work, and I find that it's good for me to do it in the smaller chunks like that because I get tired of it. All of a sudden I can feel my hands not wanting to make the motions. You feel yourself getting sloppy, you're not paying attention, I'm not counting right, and at that point you really, and I think that's sometimes a little bit of maturity when you're a knitter or a crafter, to just say it's time to put it down. I need to just put it away. So for me, this is a weekend project, and a couple of rows a weekend is perfectly fine. I have plenty of time to get it done, and I'd rather take it slow and have it look really fabulous for right a bit. But I'm really, really enjoying it, and again, that's the Brentsfield Vest by Isolde Teague. My third piece that I'm working on is actually called the Metropolitan Cowl, and it's by Mina Phillips of the Knitting Expat. And it's a pattern from Rib Magazine. Rib Magazine is put out by Devin, Brian and Heath on Instagram, and Eric Lutz as well. And they put this together. So this is basically a magazine of knitting patterns for men, designed specifically for men. So, and they're just lovely. I'm pretty sure that they're working on the second issue of Rib now. So this is the first issue that came out. I really like it. As I said, I'm making this cowl, and it's called the Metropolitan Cowl. It's by Mina Phillips, and this is it here. And I'm really enjoying this. I wanted to make this. I started to make this a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't work out right. And the reason was that I was a little bit too ambitious. I had 2 fingering weight yarns. It's actually supposed to be a DK yarn or worsted, and I had a fingering weight, and I was just I was thinking about, it has these slip stitches, and I was thinking of being super creative and having the background one stitch and the slip stitches a different color, and I still think that's a neat idea, and I might try it if I had 2 of the right weight of yarn, but it just wasn't working out. I cast it on, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it was coming out, and so I ripped it out. And one of the yarns that I was using for it originally was this really gorgeous yarn from Harrisville that I was gifted by the lovely Tanya of the Sampler Girl podcast. And I really love it. It's really interesting yarn because it feels kind of crunchy, but Tanya assures me that once you wash it, it softens up. So this is the first time I've knit with it. I'm really, really excited about trying it. So with that yarn, I tried a different pattern, and let me show you what happened. And I like to show you this because it kind of walks you through my thinking process and my just kind of shows you how you can be experimental in what you're doing in your knitting, and if something doesn't work, it's just knitting. Rip it out and move on to the next thing, which is what I ended up doing. So I have this really beautiful. Here's the this is the Harrisville. So it's this lovely blue color. I love it. And then I also had this really lovely sheepy soft wool that I purchased at the Washington County Fiber Tour 2 years ago, not this past year, but 2 years ago, and I kind of have this stuck in my stash. I pull it out every now and again, and I thought, I had a pattern that I wanted to make, and I'm like, maybe I'll combine these two, and that will look really nice and see how that works. Well, again, try. If it doesn't work, try something else, because this did not work. I put the two yarns together, and I was making a hat pattern, and the yarn, the texture is, it doesn't look so bad there, but in real life it is super stiff. It's very inelastic. It doesn't feel nice to me, and it just feels tight. And the other thing, although again, this is something that doesn't look so much on the camera, but in real life, this color with this color looks perfectly fine in real. It's beautiful. It's a cream color. It's just lovely. It's like a soft cream, sheepy, like a sheep would look, because this is undyed. But when I combined it with this blue, which is a dusky kind of blue, it's not as bright as it's showing up on the camera. It's kind of dusky and a little bit muted. It makes the cream look dirty. So this, if I left this as a hat, it looks dirty. It's just not the right combination. So I've stopped. And I'm going to be ripping this out. So I'll use this cream yarn for something else, and I'm going to continue. I'll take the blue that's already in here, and work on the cowl. Now let me show you how different the cowl looks. And the cowl, again, I don't have DK yarn, so I have this is fingering weight, but I have a lot of palette left from my sweater from last year, and I just have a lot of palette left over. So I have a skein of palette in this kind of dusky gray color, and with the Harrisville, and putting them together, and they're two dusky colors. I just want to keep saying that, dusky colors, but they're two muted colors, and I'm putting them. If I put them together, they'll make basically a DK weight, and this is how it's turning out. And I think this looks great. It's a little stiff, but again, it's not as stiff as the hat was. And I think, again, with washing and blocking, it's going to soften up considerably. But it's a cowl, so you want it to be kind of up against your neck. This may turn into a gift. I may keep it for myself. I don't know yet. But I'm very, very pleased with it. You can see the pattern. So it has this V pattern here. It's got all these little slip stitches, as you can see, and it's gonna create a V going up. But I am super, super pleased with the way the yarn is coming out together. I love the way the colors are mixing. They're really I think they're very complementary to each other. And I like the texture, and I'm really enjoying doing this. I was not enjoying knitting the hat, that pattern that I had chose. This, I'm totally enjoying. This is the right thing for this yarn, and I'm using one of my stitch markers that I won from the Woven Road podcast, which I showed last time that I had received these in the mail. So wonderful! Thank you again. But I'm very, very happy with this. This right now is by Bus Knitting, so I'm going to just continue on with this, and so this just kind of shows you sometimes you start a project and it's just it's just not right. And you really just need to find, you got to find what wants to work with what with the particular yarn that you're using. And I think this is the right one. I'm pretty excited about this. I like the pattern, and it's one of those patterns that's easy. Once you figure out what's going on, you don't really need to look back at the actual pattern. Although the Rib magazine is really nice because if you do purchase the magazine, I think you can purchase it through Etsy, and I think there probably are some yarn shops that have it. But they give you a code so that you can do a download, and it downloads right into your Ravelry library. So you have all the patterns right there. You can pull them right up on your phone, which I had actually forgotten about. And then when I started to do this, I was going to do it on the bus. I'm like, wait, wasn't there a code in there somewhere? I need to go find that. And I did, and it works great. It worked perfectly fine. So very nice. I'm very happy. Very, very happy with that. So the next pattern that I wanted to talk with you about a little bit today is called the Lomond pattern. And it is by Meg Gadsby, who is, I believe, an Australian designer. And this pattern, I spoke about it the last time, and then the lovely Helen Sprite 66 actually gifted me the pattern, which was so lovely. It was such a wonderful surprise. And I have the yarn, and it's in my yarn sock. It's actually in a physical sock. I like to do this once it's yarn's balled up, and then I don't have, it just pulls out really easily. But this is gorgeous yarn that I won from Handy of the Pause for Stitches podcast, and it's lace weight. Like I'd mentioned this before, and the pattern is beautiful. The pattern is just beautiful. It's a wrap. It's a long wrap, so it's a rectangle. It's a long rectangle, and it is basically what you're doing is you're doing lots of knit rows, knit and purl, because it's back and forth, and there's a little bit of lace detail every now and again, but it's mostly just knit rows and purl rows, which is lovely. So it's very easy. It's really easy knitting, lovely knitting. The colors, the yarn, it just is. These beautiful colors in them. This reds and purples and deep dark blues, and I am just so looking forward to this. I think this is just going to be a beautiful, beautiful piece for the summertime. It's just lovely. I just absolutely love it, and it has a beautiful edging on it. You can see, so you're slipping them, and then picking them up, so it makes this really lovely edging, so that the edging won't curl at all. And again, just a lovely little bit of a lace, and the lace alternates, a large lace pattern and a small lace pattern, and then the sections in here are bigger or smaller. I'm really very much enjoying this project, and I was thinking about this project as I was doing it the other night. I think I was watching a podcast, and my husband was playing with his drone. He has a new drone. He was doing simulations, and I think I was watching Grace, or the Babel's Traveling Yarn. Is that it? What's the name of the podcast, Grace? I always forget. Babel's Traveling. No, I'm gonna have to. I'll put it down. I can't remember. I'll say it and then I totally get it wrong. Anyway, Grace, who is traveling the world and does these lovely, lovely podcasts for us. She is a delight. And she did one of her later podcasts. She was filming. She was in Tasmania for a while, and she was filming at a lake, and she took us on a hike, and it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. It was so relaxing, and I'm sitting, listening to and watching that, working on my lace project, and it was such a lovely evening. But anyway, I got thinking about it because I was kind of in my own head about it. And I've said before, I'm really not a lace yarn knitter. I haven't been in a long, long time. I have knit lace, as you'll see, but I haven't. I do know why. I knit fast. I like to, I'm kind of a process knitter, so I want to just I like to kind of get through things. Some of that I'm sure comes from, the world of social media kind of gets in your head. I know it does. It does for all of us. So you're always, every time you open up Ravelry, there are 20 new patterns, and you just I want to knit all of these new patterns. I've got to get through all these things so I can get knit these new patterns, and you're just like just kind of like get into this mindset where you just want to get through these things. And, that's different than the way it used to be. Back in the day, before the internet, I think knitting was more, for me anyways, it was more, you did not knit on one project and kind of just keep knitting on it until it was done and enjoy the process and enjoy the end. When I did this sweater, I think I talked about the sweater before, this was the only thing I knit on when I was knitting it. And if I was knitting this today, I would have 4 other projects that I would be doing as well as this one. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's nice to kind of slow down sometimes, I think. And as I said, I have not knit with lace weight yarn in a long time. And it's because I have to go slower with it. But as I was working on this, and I picked this up, at first when I cast it, I'm like, oh no, I have to do working with lace weight yarn again. Oh no, and I have 2 other beautiful skeins of lace weight that I have, in the wings for me at some point in time. And I was actually thinking about it, and as I was doing it, I was finishing up a lace pattern, and I was admiring it and just looking at it, going, I just like looking at this. It's really pretty. It's just going to be something I'm just going to really, really enjoy. And for me, the word couture kept coming to my mind. Now, couture, I looked it up even yesterday because I was so interested in it. It's actually, in definition, the design and manufacture of fashionable clothes to a client's specific requirements and measurements, which is true for knitting because we're making them very specific. We're following a pattern, but everybody makes changes based on the fact that they're making a piece for themselves or a piece specifically for someone else. But for me, couture means something very, very special. Most of my knitting is not very, very special. Now, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that it's not special, but it's just, it's just knitting. It's what I do. I love to do it. I love to gift it to people. They enjoy it. I like making the projects that I make, but I tend to make pieces that I think of more as workhorses. So I make a cowl, and that's a workhorse because I'm going to wear it out in the cold. It's going to get wet. It's working. It's going to work for me because it's going to keep me warm. I make a sweater because I might like the pattern but I want to wear it, and I wear it to work. It's a work piece. I'm going to be wearing it kind of every day. Socks, obviously, workhorse socks. I wear those all the time. They just get used and worn. Hats, they get used and worn and loved, and they're not that they're not special, but they really are everyday pieces of your wardrobe. And something that's couture, I don't really have anything that's really couture, but when I think about it, it's something very, very special that I probably wouldn't wear every day and that I would pull out for a special occasion. So I got thinking about that, and I realized that I feel that way about lace weight yarn, and it's probably because I have to knit it very slow because, I like to use the metal needles, and you can't fly on metal needles when you're using lace weight yarn, or you're going to lose your stitches, and you don't want to do that when you are knitting with lace weight yarn. You can have lifelines, etc., but it's just a pain if your stitches start flying off when you're using lace weight, because they're really not going to stay where they were supposed to, and if you start fiddling with them, things are not going to go well, or that has happened to me in the past. And this particular lace weight, sometimes you can get a lace weight that's pretty grabby, but this is pretty thin. It's slippery, so it's not really going to grab onto itself and stay where you particularly want it to stay. So this will be a long-term project, but I'm using my hands, I'm crafting it. It's going to be something. The colors are extraordinary. The pattern is just beautiful, and I'm really going to enjoy wearing this on special occasions. So for me, working with lace weight yarn is usually, in my head, a couture project because it's not going to be an everyday thing. It'll take me too long to become an everyday project. But that's what I've been thinking of. And I have a couple of other projects that I just wanted to show you because I was thinking about them, and I actually made them. I got them back out again. The first one, you probably, I think I maybe showed this on the podcast a long time ago when Sophia was still doing it. This is called Stormy Seas, and it's by Suzanne Strachan, and it's actually from Amirusu magazine, the Japanese magazine. And this is, it's gorgeous. Again, it's a wrap. If you can see it up close, it has all the short rows, but it's all these waves, and it's made with. I think I used Knit Picks version of Kid Silk Haze with this particular one. And then if you can even see, I don't know if those will show up, but there are actually clear beads on the bottom part, so it's as if the waves are coming over and sparkling in the sun. This piece is glorious. It is so soft. The colors are beautiful. I enjoyed working this piece up. Lace weight yarn, but it's beautiful. And this is the thing, I forget, I keep this in a plastic bag and I forget that I have it, so I'm going to keep them out so that I remember this spring that I have this. But again, a beautiful, just a light wrap to wrap around your neck or your shoulders on a cool winter's evening. I love it. It's just beautiful. And again, that's the Stormy Seas, and it came out fantastic. And the other project that I have, and this you've never seen because this is years old. This, I can grab it here. This is called the Reversible Cable Shawl, and it's by Lily Chin. And I made this out of Kid Silk Haze. And I remember ordering the Kid Silk Haze, and Kid Silk Haze, I think it's fairly expensive. I don't know, I haven't used it in a long time, but I think it was at that time. And I needed a lot of it because this is a very long wrap. So it's wide, and it's very, it's very long, which is great because you can just wrap it around a bunch of times. And it has cables on it, and the cables, it's reversible. You don't know which is the front and which is the back because the cables are reversed on each side. And again, this was a challenge for me to make when I made it years ago, but I really enjoyed it, and it was so special. This was more difficult because with that mohair in it, it's harder to see the stitches. But again, that makes it couture because you just won't find this on the shelf anywhere. You would never find this on the shelf anywhere. If you did, it would be crazy, incredible, expensive in some really super fancy place. But this is beautiful. So again, this is something that I will pull out on a very special occasion. I have a wedding to go to this summer. My niece is getting married, and I will probably bring this because it is a late afternoon evening wedding. It's in July, but I'll bring this because this is going to be light enough to just throw over my shoulders if it's a little cool at all. So this is the kind of thing that I think of as couture, and I'm really pleased that I kind of was thinking about this because I remembered that I had these pieces in my wardrobe, and I wanted to bring them out again. So those are just kind of my thoughts on that today. Not that it, I don't know. What do you think? Do you have like special projects that aren't necessarily workhorse or everyday things that you use that you've made that you pull out every now and again? Should we use them more? Should we remember them? If I wasn't remembering this, what are your thoughts? What do you think when you think about couture? Do you think I'm not a sewer either, so I don't I'm not going to be sewing any couture items, but I just find those really special. And now once I've started working again with this lace, I'm really pleased to be doing it, and I am so looking forward. As I said, I have 2 other projects in the works that I have not started yet, but I have the yarn for them, and they're both lace weight, and I'm really looking forward to doing them and getting back my lace knitting mojo. It's really very, very happy. So I think that's it for my well, except for the knit along. So we'll talk about the knit along next. Right, knit along. We are having a sock challenge knit along in the Knitting by the Sea podcast group, and there are some people that have already finished some gorgeous, gorgeous socks. I really wanted to challenge myself a little bit on sock knitting because sock knitting is kind of just an everyday thing for me. I don't necessarily like to do just plain stockinette socks. I like to have some kind of pattern with them, but I haven't done a pattern in a long time, and I thought I would challenge myself a little bit. And if you'd watched the previous podcast, I have challenged myself. I've started these particular, a different pair of socks that just didn't work out, and so I'm doing another pair of socks now, and they're coming along. It's called the Campanula pattern, and it is a beautiful lace pattern. I've knit these before. I was a test knitter for this pair of socks, but this was several years ago, and I really have not done a real lace pair of socks in a long, long time. So this was what I decided to do. But you can see it here. So I've done the heel, and I'm moving now up the leg. Again, these are, you know, they're coming along. I will, you know, they're. It's not, this is why it's a challenge for me. I really want these, and I think they're lovely. They're going to be really nice work socks, but it's not something that I pick up. This ends up being my weekend knitting along with my with the Brunsfield vest, really. And I think it's not the pattern. I just think I did choose this yarn. I told you I don't really remember where I got this yarn, and it's lovely, and the color, it's going to be beautiful. The colors are beautiful. It just doesn't have a really comfortable feel in my hand. So every time I pick it up to knit with it, I was like, oh, it doesn't really feel. But I really like the way it's turning out, and I think these socks will be great. They're going to be hard wearing, and you know, I will block these a little bit because they have the lace in them to open it up. So in the long run, I'm going to be very happy with them. It's just not the first thing that I go to go ahead and knit. Although I am going to finish them. No question about that. I really actually don't. This looks like I'm not that far, but I really don't have it in terms of knitting in your brain. You know how that goes. I probably only have one or two maybe two more repeats of the lace pattern to get through, and you know, 12 or 14 rows per pattern. So sometimes that's a little bit easier because you know, like, oh, all right, I'm just going to do these 14 rows on a sock. It's not that much, and then all of a sudden you're done. So these actually won't take me that long. I probably will have this one finished. I probably will have this one finished by next week, and I'll get the other one started and get them done. So I'm working along. I'm taking encouragement from all the other beautiful socks that have been put up in the thread and the patterns that people are talking about. I really appreciate it because I need all the help I can get on this particular pair of socks. I will really like them when they're done, but they've been kind of a work for me. However, the other thing that happened this week is that Edinburgh Yarn Fest took place last weekend, as you all know. You all know. And, I watched all of the people going to Edinburgh Yarn Fest on their Instagram feeds, and it was just wonderful. It looks like so much fun. And, of course you're jealous about going there, but, you always remember that I'm lucky enough to live close enough to go to Rhinebeck every year. So I shouldn't be jealous about anything because we get to go to Rhinebeck and other festivals in the area, but it's always fun to see. So Claire of New Hampshire Knits, who owns the Woolly Thistle store, she went to, she's from Scotland, and she went to the Edinburgh Yarn Fest last year, and she was feeling a little bit down in the dumps because she wasn't there this past weekend. So she had a sale in her shop, and so I was like, I could participate in a little bit of a sale this weekend. That would be wonderful. So I got a couple of skeins of yarn, but what I did do was I purchased a skein of yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners. So this is British. This is what Claire brings in, all British yarn. So, her tagline is something about let me handle the shipping so you don't have to. So you don't have to pay shipping on these gorgeous yarns from Britain. But this is from their signature 4-ply colorway set. I think this is one of the bird ones. Anyway, I like this color. I like these colors. You've seen them before. I've knit up these socks before. So they're self-patterning. Really, really cool. Lovely, just beautiful. So this is enough to make two socks, which is great. So this is going to be the prize for the sock knit along. So if you haven't come over, and we've got plenty of time because I'm not going to end it until I finish both of these socks. So probably in reality, we're already mid-March. I think probably it'll be but by the end of April, I'll close it when I finish up my pair of socks. But this beautiful skein of yarn of West Yorkshire Spinners, this is going to be the prize for that. So come on along and join in the chatter, and you might have a chance to win these. You got plenty of time to make a pair of socks. You'll be much faster than I am. It'll be perfect. So anyway, if you're interested, come on along. Okay, so let's do some chatter. Basically, I already told you there's a big snowstorm going on today. So I'm hoping that we'll get some video of that a little bit later and be able to add that on to the end of the podcast. Sophia is doing great. Nothing special is going on right now. The school year finished in Japan, and but they go to school all year round, so it's not like here. So I think they have maybe a week off, and then they start right up again. So she's had a lot of fun with that because they've had a graduation ceremony, and she's had a couple of her classes have graduated from their class, but she's still going to have them, and yet they had a closing ceremony thanking her for all her work. They'll see her in a couple more weeks, but I think that's funny. But she's really she's enjoying enjoying that. So what else? I did wanted to mention. I have been listening. I commute every day, so I probably have an hour and a half to maybe an hour 45 minutes into work in the morning, and at night as well. So I usually listen to podcasts. So I listen to podcasts some days. It depends on your mood. Does that happen to you? Depends on the mood. Sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. Sometimes there'll be knitting podcasts. Sometimes other podcasts. Sometimes I will listen to an audiobook. And sometimes I'll listen to music. Yesterday, I had two things yesterday. It was very funny. I listened to the Yarns at Yinhu podcast, our friend Sarah Pomegranate on Instagram and Ravelry. And her husband, Samuel, has a band, and they have great music. But anyway, her beginning and ending song is this song called Sweet by the Bovine Social Club, and it's a great song. It's really upbeat, it's funny, it's great. Samuel wrote it about they live in a old Chinese tea house, and he wrote it about that. So it's really fun. It's it's a really bouncy song. And I was listening to the podcast on the way to the tea. So I take the bus to the tea. And when I got to the tea, I had to wait a couple minutes on the platform for the tea to come. And I caught myself because the ending song was on, and I caught myself. And here, literally, this is like 7 o'clock in the morning, so people are like got their Dunkin' Donuts coffee. They're like barely awake, and I've got my headphones on, and I caught myself. I'm like, oh my god! I got my headphones. I caught myself like bouncing, and I was like doing a little groove dance to the music. It's like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god! I only pray that I was not singing out loud. The music as well, but it was so funny. It's a great song. You should listen to it. It's a great group, and it's really a lot of fun. But that was very funny. But the other thing, that same kind of thing. So yesterday I was in a music mode. I'm usually not in like listening to a music mood, but yesterday I was. Now and I'm really going to say I'm really super late to this particular game that I'm going to talk about. But at Christmas time, I bought for Christmas we bought my brother-in-law the Ron Chernow Hamilton book. And along with it, I also purchased for him the actual CDs of the music from the musical. So, and I didn't realize this until recently, that because we have Amazon Prime, I never know all the things that happen when you have Prime, but in this particular case, if you buy music on Amazon, it's yours. So you have it digitally, and I had no idea. So I'm like, I realized this. I'm like, there's like albums on there that we bought like 10 years ago that I could listen to on the phone because I purchased them and they're now in my digital library. I'm like, who knew? I had no clue. I had no idea. So at work yesterday, I was working on a spreadsheet, and so I'm like, wait a minute, I'm gonna put on Hamilton because I've actually never listened to the music. I've seen the documentary that was on PBS. I think it was on Great Performances. Really good. If you have a chance to see it, it kind of, sometimes they're running it. Now that I think they run it during, their fundraising kind of thing, but it's really good. So it's like, it goes right from the very beginning of when he was actually thinking about, they were thinking about thinking about how to bring the story to to the stage and turn it into a musical and then hip hop. I mean, it's really, really, really interesting. If you have a chance to see it, it's really great. If you have a chance to see the musical, go for that. But I'd seen that, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, but I never really listened to the music. So my brother-in-law whizzed through the book, and it's a big book, and he actually gave it to me because I've never read it, and I said I wanted to read it. So I've just started reading it now, and if you like Hamilton, I'm so surprised. It's a great book. The writing is great. It reads. It's not dull. It's not. It's not slow at all. It's really interesting. I was really surprised. It's going to be, it looks like this really big historical tome that you'd have to read, and it's not. It's not. It's like boom, boom, boom. Really super interesting. So I'm just really enjoying that. However, I had Hamilton, so all day yesterday, I'm like got my earbuds in, working on this spreadsheet, and I'm like, sitting in my chair, and I'm bopping away, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. So it must have been my music day yesterday, but then I hadn't finished it because I was in and out of it, and it's all the music, so it's it's got to be over 2 hours worth of music, and so I'm on the way home. I'm like boop-a-doo, same thing on the T again. So anyway, but that's all I'm saying. That I wanted to recommend a podcast I actually had started listening to a few weeks ago. My number one podcast, bar none, is Welcome to Night Vale. If you've never listened to Welcome to Night Vale, go find it. Listen to it. Just take it in. Don't think about it. Don't worry about what's going on. Just listen. It's awesome. Totally awesome. But other than that, there's a new podcast that I found, and it is Harry Potter themed, and it is called Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. And there are two presenters, Vanessa and Casper, and they podcast out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, so in Boston. And I believe that they are both attending the Divinity School, Harvard Divinity School. That's what it sounds like anyway. And basically what they said is that what if, this is kind of the information for the podcast, what if we read the books we love as if they were sacred texts? What would we learn? How would they change us? So they are reading a chapter of Harry Potter once a week, and they're going to go through the whole thing. So I think they said they have like 199 chapters to do, and I think this started maybe last summer. So I have quite a few picked up here that I can listen to, but they're very, very fun and interesting. It's not religious. I mean, they're just really fun. So they're not long. They're 20 minutes to half an hour. It's not like they're, going deeply into every word of Harry Potter at all, but they're reading the chapters and talking about the chapters as an adult would come to Harry Potter. Because, you can read a book, especially a children's book or a young adult book, and you can just read it. Just read it for the story, and that's great, and it's fun. I haven't read the Harry Potter books in a long time at all. I mean, since Sophia, because I started reading them out loud to her when she was 5. I haven't gone back to them. You have the movies, the whole thing, everything. I haven't gone back to them, but this is really getting me interested in maybe starting them up again, because there's so much more in the books than, in my mind I remember the movies, which probably a lot of people do. But they really, they kind of like pick a theme for each chapter, and they'll pick out a couple of incidents or sentences sometimes, or like little things that happen, and kind of come at them again as if it were a sacred text. So what would you learn from what happened to Harry and Ron and Hermione, or something that Mrs. Weasley did? Why was she doing what she did? What's the motivation behind it? Just kind of reading Harry Potter as you would, bringing your adult self to it, your mature self to it, thinking more along the lines of, that's really interesting. I wonder why she wrote it that way. What was she thinking? What idea do you think she was trying to, trying to get across here? It's super. I mean, I'm making it sound much more serious than it's not. It's not serious at all. It's really enjoyable. The two presenters just like work off one another. They're so cute together. But I really, really enjoyed it. And it's called, like I said, it's called Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. It's Vanessa and Caspar. Look it up. I just started right at the beginning. They started page 1, chapter 1. Really just interesting. It's kind of like bringing the whole story back to me and kind of getting me psyched to look back and read that again. So just another little recommendation. Now, the last piece of the pie that I'm going to talk about today, before hopefully move on to some storm videos at the end, is that I would also like to do a giveaway. We haven't done just a giveaway in a while, and Claire, again from the Woolly Thistle, the wonderful Claire, she so generously sent me a skein of yarn as a giveaway on the podcast. So we have another skein of the West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply sock yarn, and I think I've used this skein before. And again, it's self-patterning, and it's good enough to make 2 socks. You can make a scarf out of it, anything you want. But this is like super, super great. It's super soft. I love it. And again, Claire has so generously given this to us. So I'm going to put this up in the Ravelry group. And I think maybe what I will do is we're talking about the couture thing. Why don't we do this? Why don't you just tell me something about a piece or a pattern, or if you have a little story about something, or give me the name of a pattern that you would think of as a couture piece for your wardrobe, as opposed to a workaday, workhorse piece. Now, it could be a pair of socks. I mean, if that to you is couture, that's really great. But go ahead and tell me about that, or just tell me your thoughts about couture versus everyday stuff in the knitting world, and I think that would be fun. So I'm going to go put that up in the group today. So I think that's all we have for you. All I have for you today. I am going to go call my husband, have him pick me up, and the wind is it's picking up. I don't think we have so much snow anymore, although it is snowing. But that's going to be the thing. The blowing snow is going to be the craziness, and I think it is not 50 to 60 yet, but it's probably a steady 20, 25 miles an hour right now, and we're going to get gusts up to 60. That's a lot. That's a lot of wind. It's a lot of wind. So anyway, hopefully, Sarah, you're enjoying this snowstorm, and I'm going to put together my stuff, and I'm going to get to do some knitting this afternoon. And don't forget, it's just knitting. Bye.